Across these farms, machines were more than tools. They were companions through war years, through dry summers, through seasons when hope leaned hard on steel and soil. Families gathered around them. Communities depended on them. And in the 1950s, a handful of tractors didn't just work the land. They shaped the people who lived upon it. This is the story of those machines and the world that rose beside them. John Deere Model A. Introduced in the late 1930s and rolling steadily into the 1950s, the John Deere Model A became a familiar sight on cool Ohio mornings, when the mist still clung low to the soil and the smell of damp earth drifted across the barnyards. America had come out of the war with a renewed hunger for growth, and the family farm was still the center of life across the Midwest. Built in Waterloo, Iowa, the Model A sold for around $2,400, and with more than 300,000 machines produced, it settled deeply into the heart of Ohio agriculture. Today, a well-restored Model A often brings $3,000 to $5,000 among collectors. Across the flat row crop country of western Ohio and the reclaimed lands of the old Black Swamp, the Model A became the backbone of many farms. Its two-cylinder, 321 cubic inch engine gave rise to the unmistakable pop-pop-pop rhythm that carried over the fields like the steady beat of a wooden hammer on a fence post. You could hear that sound miles away on still evenings, when the sun slanted low and the fields glowed copper under the last light. The A was known for its simplicity. A handful of wrenches, a small workbench in the corner of the machine shed, and a farmer with patience could keep it running year after year. Its Power-Troll hydraulic system and rugged build made it ideal for cultivating corn and soybeans, or pulling a loaded hay wagon toward a silo under the deep blue of an Ohio summer sky. To many families, the Model A was more than a machine, it was a constant companion across the seasons. And for anyone who ever heard that gentle, popping heartbeat drifting across a warm July evening, the memory still lingers like the smell of fresh-cut hay on a breeze. John Deere Model B. Smaller, lighter, and a bit more nimble, the John Deere Model B, introduced in 1935, became a favorite on the modest farms that dotted Ohio's rolling hills and narrow bottomlands. Built in Waterloo and sold originally for about $1,600, the B matched its larger sibling in popularity, also surpassing 300,000 units before production ended in the early 1950s. Today, restored examples sell for $2,000 to $4,000. Model B was the everyday helper, the kind of tractor that spent long hours raking hay, tending small grain fields, hauling feed, and performing the endless chores that stitched a farm day together. Its two-cylinder, 175 cubic inch engine sipped fuel and produced a gentle, rhythmic thrum that blended easily with the calls of meadowlarks along the fence lines. It was often the first tractor a young farm boy or girl was trusted to operate, learning the ways of the land with hands wrapped tightly around the steel steering wheel. Ohio farmers loved the B for the very reasons city folks might overlook. It fit inside smaller barns, turned easily between tight rows, and could run all day without complaint. On the gently rising hills of Holmes County or the narrow lanes of old dairy farms near Zanesville, the Model B became part of the everyday soundtrack, steady, patient, and familiar. Today, many owners say that their Model B feels like paging through an old family album, each scratch in the paint recalling one season's joy or another season's burden. It was, and remains, a reminder of a time when life moved at the speed of a small green tractor crossing a morning pasture. Farmall Model H. When the Farmall H arrived in 1939, built in the busy Rock Island plant of Illinois, it quickly became one of the most beloved tractors across Ohio. Selling for about $2,000 and produced in astonishing numbers, nearly 400,000, the H found a home on farms that relied heavily on corn and soybeans, the twin pillars of Midwestern agriculture. Today, collectors often pay between $1,500 and $3,000 for a well-running H. The 1950s were years of change in Ohio farming. Soybeans were gaining ground, corn yields were climbing, and families still worked together from dawn to dusk. The Farmall H, with its 152 cubic inch, 4-cylinder engine, slipped smoothly into this world. It handled row cultivation gracefully, ran hay balers without strain, and offered visibility that farmers praised in letters to the company long before customer surveys became a modern trend. Its engine produced a steady, reassuring hum, stronger than the 2-cylinder Deere beat, yet not harsh. Many older farmers can still recall drifting into a half-sleep on the hay wagon while the H pulled ahead, the comforting sound of its engine swelling and fading like a long, even breath. The H's strength was its versatility. It adapted to nearly any task, and in an era when every dollar mattered, a tractor that could do a bit of everything was worth its weight in seed corn. When people see a Farmall H today, paint shining bright red, wheels tall and proud, they often think of warm sunsets over Ohio fields, where the smell of worked earth mixed with the fading warmth of a summer day. Farmall Model M. If the H was the dependable worker, the Farmall M was the powerful giant that helped larger Ohio farms step into the post-war era. Introduced in 1939, also built in Rock Island, and selling for close to $2,400, the M reached more than 270,000 units before its production run ended. Today, enthusiasts pay $3,000 to $6,000 depending on condition. Ohio farmers expanding into bigger acreage during the 1950s needed muscle, and the M offered just that. Its 248 cubic inch engine delivered the strength required for deep tillage, heavy plowing, and pulling older grain combines with long, rattling belts that echoed across autumn fields. In places like Hancock County or the wide-sweeping farmlands around Urbana, the M often started its day before sunrise, when the dew still clung to the corn leaves and the horizon barely glowed with the first hint of daylight. Its low, powerful rumble seemed to settle into the soil itself, announcing the start of another long day. Strength and endurance defined the M. Its transmission was rugged, its frame sturdy, and its presence on a farm meant that bigger harvests were within reach. For many Ohio families, owning an M felt like stepping confidently into the future. Now, at antique tractor shows, the M stands as a reminder of an era when power didn't come from electronics or sensors, but from cast iron, gasoline, and the steady determination of a farmer who knew the land better than he knew his own handwriting. Ford 8N. When Ford introduced the 8N in 1947, built in Highland Park, Michigan, it brought genuine innovation to Ohio farms through affordability and the revolutionary 3-point hitch. Selling for about $1,400 and manufactured in staggering numbers, over 524,000 units, the 8N became a household name. Today, nicely restored examples sell for $2,500 to $4,000. In Ohio, the 8N was especially common on dairy farms and small mixed operations. Its 119 cubic inch, 4-cylinder engine produced a gentle, even toned, neither loud nor showy, but as familiar as the creak of an old barn door. The tractor was small enough to maneuver inside tight barnyards, yet strong enough to pull loaded hay wagons through muddy spring ground. The 3-point hitch changed everything. Farmers loved the easy hookup, the improved safety, and the flexibility to switch tools quickly. A Ford 8N could mow fields in the morning, rake hay in the afternoon, and haul milk cans to the road by evening. Many Ohioans still remember chilly fall days, when leaves swirled across the yard and the 8N chugged steadily along, pulling a wagon full of sweet-smelling alfalfa. Its red and gray paint glowed softly in the fading light. Today, the 8N remains a sentimental favorite, a symbol of the modest, hard-working family farm, where the rhythm of daily chores shaped the heartbeat of rural life. Allis-Chalmers WD. Built in West Allis, Wisconsin, and introduced in 1948 at around $1,900, the Allis-Chalmers WD quickly earned respect across Ohio. More than 145,000 units were produced before 1953. Restored WDs typically bring $1,800 to $3,000 today. Ohio farmers admired the WD for its strong torque, reliable live hydraulics, and the handy snap coupler system that made attaching implements faster than on many competitors. Its 201 cubic inch, 4-cylinder engine had a firm, slightly raspy growl, a sound that could be recognized from half a mile down a quiet country road. In the hay-growing counties of Hardin and Logan, the WD was a common sight, its bright orange paint glowing against fields of soft green timothy and alfalfa. Whether lifting heavy windrows or powering through midsummer heat, the WD worked like a seasoned farmhand. Farmers remembered it for its cold morning dependability. Even on frosty March days, when the barn roof glistened with thin ice, the WD often fired after only a few tries. It wasn't flashy, it simply did the job. Today, the WD stands as a symbol of grit and practicality, much like the people who once relied on it from sunrise to sunset. Oliver Super 77. Introduced in 1954 and tied closely to Ohio's heritage, the Oliver Super 77 carried a special pride, despite being produced in Charles City, Iowa. Oliver's deep roots in Ohio made this 77 feel like a local champion. Selling for about $2,700, the 77 now commands $4,000 to $6,000 among collectors. The Super 77's 6-cylinder, 216 cubic inch engine ran smoothly, with a purr that set it apart from many contemporaries. Its ergonomic layout, comfortable seat, well-placed controls, easy steering made long days more bearable, a quality many farmers appreciated as they rumbled through fields of wheat, corn, or hay. Across the wide, gently rolling plains of western Ohio, the Super 77's deep green paint and bright yellow wheels stood out like brushstrokes on a vast Midwestern canvas. It worked the land with a quiet steadiness that seemed almost polite. Farmers who grew wheat especially loved the 77. They spoke of how it pulled implements with grace, never jerky, never strained, just a low, confident hum under a wide, summer sky. Today, the Oliver Super 77 remains tied to Ohio's identity, a reflection of craftsmanship, pride, and the gentle dignity of farm life. Minneapolis Moline U. Built in Minneapolis, Minnesota, during the mid-1940s and selling for roughly $2,200, the Minneapolis Moline U series earned its reputation as one of the most durable and comfortable tractors of its era. More than 40,000 units were produced, and modern prices range from $2,500 to $5,000. With a powerful 283 cubic inch, 4-cylinder engine, the U series tackled heavy work, deep plowing, heavy tillage, hauling timber, and powering belt-driven equipment. In Ohio, the U often appeared on large grain operations, especially in the northwest counties where black, fertile soil stretched out like a quilt of promise. The U's cabin area was roomy for its time, and the seat, broad and cushioned, made grueling days a little less taxing. Its engine note was deep and resonant, floating across fields like a steady drumbeat marking the progress of another long day. For many Ohio families, the U represented ambition, the tool for farmers who dreamed bigger, planted wider, and worked longer. Today, the U remains a favorite at tractor pulls and vintage demonstrations, where its strength still draws respect from crowds.
Get ready.
Massey-Harris 44. The Massey-Harris 44, introduced in 1947 and produced in factories in Toronto and Racine, was a versatile companion for mid-sized Ohio farms. Selling for around $2,300, nearly 90,000 units were built. Today, collectors value them at $2,000 to $4,000. Fitted with a 6-cylinder 248 cubic inch gasoline engine or a 4-cylinder 277 cubic inch diesel, the 44 delivered reliable power without overcomplication. Ohio farmers used it for plowing, disking, haying, and running small combines. Children across rural Ohio grew up climbing onto the bright red and yellow tractor, pretending to drive while their fathers repaired implements nearby. Its gentle exhaust note and familiar silhouette became symbols of daily life on thousands of farms. The 44's strengths lay in its smooth transmission, sturdy frame, and capacity for long, uninterrupted work. Whether carving furrows through spring earth or pulling wagons of golden wheat in July, it performed with steadfast reliability. Even today, the 44 remains a beloved fixture at antique tractor gatherings, where its warm colors recall the vibrant hues of Ohio harvest seasons long past. Case DC. Built from 1939 to 1953 in Racine, Wisconsin, the Case DC stood tall, both in stature and reputation, across Ohio's corn country. Selling for about $1,900, more than 60,000 DC tractors were produced before the line ended. Today, they fetch $2,000 to $4,000, depending on condition. The DC's 267 cubic inch, 4-cylinder engine delivered raw, dependable strength. It excelled at heavy plowing and powered belt-driven machines with steady determination. In the broad, sun-washed cornfields of western Ohio, the DC became a trusted partner in seasons when every acre mattered. Its gray and orange paint stood out against the deep greens of early summer corn and the golden hues of late-season stalks. The DC wasn't flashy, it was resolute. It represented the hard-working spirit of Midwestern families who rose before dawn, worked through heat and dust, and found pride in the simple act of tending the land. When a Case DC appears today at a vintage tractor parade, it carries more than metal and paint, it carries the memory of an era when the rhythm of farm life echoed through barns, fields, and kitchen windows across the Ohio countryside. If these tractors brought back a memory of your parents, your grandparents, your childhood, or simply a time when life moved a little slower, feel free to share your story below. Even a small memory can warm a whole community. And if you'd like to journey with us through more seasons of America's farming past, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for spending these quiet minutes with us, walking once more through the fields of 1950s Ohio, where tractors didn't just work the land. They shaped the lives of the families who called it home.